Let's talk about the draft. I've got Mike Greenberg and Rece Davis here. Greeny, let's go first. Do you think the story of tonight is going to be what?
Well, I was listening to your conversation with Kurt Warner. It would sort of be cliche to say the story is where is Shedeur Sanders going to go.
I don't think it's cliche at all.
The conversation began with the Giants taking him at 3, and it has morphed all the way to will he still be available tomorrow night when the Browns are picking at 33? And the honest answer is I have absolutely no idea. I feel like if Aaron Rodgers were at all committed to the Pittsburgh Steelers, then I would feel like there was a better chance that Shedeur slides all the way through the evening. I say this just based on as an observer. I'm obviously not. I'm not an expert on that. I'm not an insider, but I can't imagine the Steelers coming out of this without a quarterback. If you watch the interview that Aaron did with Pat McAfee. And we just lived, you and I, through the Aaron Rodgers experience as a Jet fan for the last 2 years. Like, say whatever you will about him, he does not sound like a person who was excited to go play there.
He didn't sound like a person who was ready to play, commit. Like, I think he would definitely get excited to play there once he's now through whatever else he's thinking about in his life. I kind of, playing in Pittsburgh, one last shot. You're playing the NFC North and the AFC East. You get to take one last stroll through the NFL against the teams you'd love to beat, and you used to beat quite a bit. I think he would get into it, but I understand what you're saying. He didn't sound like a guy who was ready to commit.
That's what I mean. Unless they know something that we don't.
Right.
If I'm them, I'm getting a quarterback, and so to me, it feels like if Sanders is there at 21, I feel like the Steelers would take him. I base that exclusively on my own opinion and not on any insight or knowledge that I have.
I agree with you, and I also think it's the story of the night. I don't think he'll make it all the way out of tonight, because if the Steelers were to pass on him, I think then it might set off a chain of events of something we haven't seen yet, a lot of trades and people trying to get into the first round at the end of the first round to get him, which I'm optimistic about his success, but I actually also think that's about the right place.
Pittsburgh?
No, later in the first round.
I see what you're saying.
Later in the first round, and I'm not so sure I don't feel that way about all of the quarterbacks. I don't blame Tennessee for taking Cam Ward. A lot of ability. Upside is there for sure, but overall, big picture, great quarterback prospects. Probably the second half of the first round for all of these guys at best, and most of them the next 2 days after that.
Well, you had a front row seat for the last 2 years with the Colorado Buffaloes. That's for sure. I don't know, man. I look at Travis Hunter, and I think to myself, we can't comp him. There's no comp. Right. And that's why Andrew Berry mentioned Shohei Ohtani as a comp.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here? Except the most unique, which I know is redundant, talent that we have seen. There's no comparison, which is why I don't know. Like, did we go through the season? Did you go through the college game day season looking at Cam Ward, not to put you on the spot, saying that's the first overall pick in the draft?
No. And I like him. Big fan. Thought he was the best quarterback in the country this year. But number one overall pick, I'm a big Drake May guy. Maybe I'll be proven wrong about this. I liked May better than the other two that went at the top last year. But I don't see them that way. That doesn't mean, to Kurt Warner's point earlier, that they can't develop and become that. I certainly see the traits on both those guys with Cam Ward, Shedeur, that show that they could have success in the NFL, for sure. No, I'm not doubting that for a second. But to say that you're going to – I know it's not as expensive as it used to be, but to stake your franchise at this point, it's tough. I'd take Travis Hunter. I would take Travis Hunter first overall if I were in there, or I would lobby for it.
I did an essay, by the way, this week that I thought was interesting, but Paul Hembekides, who does our research, is just phenomenal. And what will happen tonight is Cam Ward will get drafted.
Yes, sir.
And then maybe we'll wait a long time for Shedeur to get drafted. And the narrative for tonight will be woe is him, how sorry everyone will feel for him. The reality is being the second quarterback taken in your draft class in recent memory is by far the best thing that can happen to you. If you look at last year with Jaden Daniels, you look at the year before that with C.J. Stroud, the last 9 MVPs in the NFL have all been quarterbacks. It's 5 different people. None of them were the first quarterback taken in their class. This past year, 9 quarterbacks started a playoff game for the team that drafted them. A combined total of 0 of them were the first quarterback taken in their class. So while tonight is a very special night, it's just one night, and then what really matters is what comes next. And at least in recent memory, being the first quarterback in the class has not always worked out so well.
You know, and then you could also say the second overall pick has been the star of the draft, and Travis Hunter could be that again after Jaden Daniels last year, and then before that C.J. Stroud on top of it. And, you know, ask Lamar Jackson how his long night paid off for him. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, he's
Aaron Rodgers.
He's sitting there on top of his stacks right now with 2 MVP trophies and an annual shot at the Super Bowl. Right.
And he's going to, I mean, you guys are locked in on the NFL more. He's going to win one, if not more than one,
he almost did
before
this
it's
year,
over.
right?
Yeah,
I mean, you know what I mean?
He's going to. He was so phenomenal in college, and every little thing that you might look at and say he needed to improve, he did. But he was well coached in college by Bobby Petrino, for whatever, you know, people might have the visceral reaction when you say that name. But Lamar is a guy that you look at with all these skills and then still did all of the work to elevate right there. And he's become a guy that's easy to root for. I think you're like, okay, this guy's so good, he's got to win a Super Bowl.
Oh, and Allen was in that same class.
Yeah.
And, of course, is outstanding. And Baker was the first quarterback taken that year, and Sam Darnold was the second. So I think the point remains the same. One of these guys is going to it'll be determined by where they wind up, by the coaching they get, the circumstances they wind up in, not by what number is attached to their name when they get drafted.
Well,
catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.